1. My roommate had their long-distance partner move in a couple of months ago, which I had agreed to. But we both agreed if it wasn't a vibe that it wouldn't be a long-term arrangement, as I did not know him at all personally. Within the first week of living with us, he brought over a guest that subsequently stole my tote bag to borrow for the night. He dumped out all my possessions onto the couch. The bag did end up getting returned, left a sour taste in my mouth, but I try to let it slide. He's unemployed and around all the time, fine, whatever. Except that he's constantly cooking, there's no room in the fridge for my food, and he's putting my roommate under financial strain. I had only agreed to let him move in to help with the rent and decrease my rent share, but it quickly has become untenable, and I'm not getting that financial relief. On May 31st, my OG roommate is texting me she might be late on rent, waiting on a cash deposit and check to clear. I'm not pumped, but she says she's initially $45 short. Then she tells me she can only send $395 that night, less than a third of rent. Jesus. Her mom sends me the reminder on the 1st, so rent is not technically late. But I don't want to deal with that stress. And her partner, again no income, is flaunting large purchases on his Instagram later that day. I've heard fights about money. I think she might be in a financially abusive relationship, and within 2 months it's already affecting me. It gives me the ick. Anyways, I had been getting the sense somebody had been going into my room, ignored it for a while, until I came home to undeniable evidence in my mind. My ring basket has been knocked over onto my makeup container on my vanity and reset. It's in front of my change jar, so I think someone stole petty cash. It's put back up right, so it can't have been one of the cats. It's possible, I suppose, I knocked it over, but I have no recollection of that. I have a spare security camera for my business, so I pop it on my shelf to watch my door. The first time I leave my house for an extended period of time, he's in my room within 20 minutes, closing my window. I guess innocuous enough. Not really. Except my door was closed and the cats weren't in there, so there was no reason to, and I'm pretty sure he was actually just bailing out on what he was going to do, having clocked the camera. He subsequently comes into my room 2 more times to open or close my window, and repeatedly opens and closes my door without entering. My OG roommate has gone into my room before, but she always told me when she had. I hear nothing from her partner about it, so maybe he thought it was okay. I asked my roommate to grab a beer. I tell her her partnership and finances are none of my business until she made them my business, and that the texts about her figuring out how to get rent stress me out, and from an outside perspective she's in a financially abusive relationship that I'm getting dragged into with that. She gives me a weird sob story that she was only texting me because she always pays rent early, and how is she supposed to know that rent was only due by end of day on the 1st? I just kinda say that's how it always works anywhere, and that's in the roommate agreement she signed anyways. I move on to the room entry. She asks if I have videos of him moving stuff. I say no, but I was on edge enough to put up a camera, and the first time I left the house since putting it up, someone went into my room multiple times without my knowledge. And that in of itself is not okay with me. I move on to normal roommate stuff. No room in the fridge and personal belongings everywhere in the common areas, etc., etc. At this point, I'm not kicking them out, just setting boundaries. She ends up saying he is leaving and that she would be as well, and they had been thinking about moving anyways. I say that's fair, and ask her if she wants to consider it 60 days notice from the 1st. She agrees and is teary about it. It is nice when a problem fixes itself. I think she wanted more time, but also didn't give me a timeline. Hellfreezer's note, you were questioning near the end of the story if you were the bad guy in all this. No, everything you're asking is very reasonable. That guy's got no reason to be entering your room at all. He's not paying for it, it's your room. No one, not even your other roommate, should be entering your room. They've told you they're moving out. That's on them, it's up to them to do. So you don't have to deal with the problem anymore. Hopefully, if you get another roommate, it's a much more respectful one. 2. For context, she's 2 years older than me, and my classes previously started at 10, so I had no problem with her schedule. But now both of our classes start at 7:45 a.m. I can't pick a different time. This professor only teaches at that hour. Yeah. And I need to be ready by 7 to reach class on time. In the earlier weeks, I joined almost a month late due to personal reasons. She used to get up early and take hour-long morning showers. I wasn't okay with her hogging the bathroom, though, because our hot water only works until 9, and I need to shower and brush before then. Our breakfast also ends at 9, so I'm always in a rush to get everything done on time. I hadn't really said anything about that, as I could still manage and didn't want to cause any fights. She would also make me turn off the overhead lights, the only proper and pretty bright lights in our room, around 11, since they shine directly into her eyes. One of the first annoying things she did was remove my washed laundry from our shared stand after it had only half dried. No thank you. Claiming that her clothes were completely wet, oh no, and therefore a priority. She would place my clothes on an unused, dusty bed, which I absolutely hate, because my clean clothes get dirty again. One day, she tried to remove my clothes from the stand while I was in the room. I stopped her, and she started saying that roommates need to adjust. Funny how the adjustment is only one way though, isn't it? For context, I had washed my clothes the night before and she knew the stand was already full, yet she still did her laundry because she had a date with her boyfriend and wouldn't have time later. The boyfriend probably wasn't going to care, we're mostly just glad you've got a pulse. I was done with her nonsense, so I simply said that under no effing terms were my clothes moving an inch. I had already given her repeated polite no's before that. This was during rainy season and we don't have a dryer. Then I left for class. Before that incident, she also used to make me switch off the fan every morning, which gets annoying after a few times, and made me turn off the lights at night. I struggle to say no to her because she has a low baritone voice, and I have a much higher pitched one, so she always manages to make it sound like I'm the one arguing and creating drama. Now, she deliberately keeps the overhead light on until 12 a.m. every night and refuses to turn it off, claiming she needs it. Even though she has a small night lamp right over her bed, she also plays reels at low volume but in a quiet room that sounds super loud. I'm a very light sleeper with sensitive ears. I can't wear earbuds. They almost gave me an ear infection when I tried, and my parents won't let me use them anymore. I'm still dependent on them financially and can't purchase high-quality earbuds without them knowing. I also can't legally get a job. All I want is for the super bright overhead light to be turned off by 11 p.m., which I think is perfectly reasonable, since I need at least 6 or 7 hours sleep. She usually wakes up at 7:30 a.m. these days, skipping her first lecture entirely, so sleeping at 12 works fine for her, and she thinks that makes it okay. I've asked her multiple times if I could turn off the light. She hates getting up to switch things off once she's in bed. She always gives some excuse like a shadow falling on her while she's video chatting, so she needs the light on. She also randomly claims she has OCD whenever it suits her. I'm pretty sure she doesn't. Last night she was literally putting up wall decor until midnight, and barely got a wink of sleep. My exams are coming up and I need to sleep at night. I can't nap during the day because of classes. Please help me to get her to understand. Or just give me ideas to annoy her badly enough that she finally gets the message. Talking to her doesn't help. Health Freezer's note, you want to get a Wi-Fi bulb, don't tell her, and then put it in so you can turn it on and off through your phone. You did mention that it's student accommodation and not actually a dorm. Might be worth it looking to see if there is another space available that you could switch to anyway. Making you sleep with the lights on is unreasonable and it's going to have detrimental effects on your health. Fact of the matter is, the little miss you're living with needs to learn that, yeah, you're right, people need to adjust, so she's going to have to adjust to the fact that you need things done by a certain time. You're willing to make certain compromises for her, but hers are more my way or the highway. She thinks you have to do what she says. Doesn't matter what her tone of voice is, doesn't matter what you sound like arguing back. Argue back. She thinks she can walk all over you because you don't like the sound of your voice while you're arguing. It doesn't matter because you gotta stand up for yourself. Let her know that she has a roommate, not a sibling or a pet she can order around. You have as much right to the space as she does, and she is disrupting your right to rest in your own home. If she doesn't like it, She can jog on, live somewhere else. 3. My roommate, 24, female, recently got a kitten. I, 22, also female, did not ask for this cat. I am not a cat person. I made it clear that if she were to get a cat, I would be compromising, and that she would need to keep the litter box in her space, clean the litter every day, and make sure it did not smell. I also have been having some issues with her cleaning up after herself in general. When she decided she wanted to get a cat, I was apprehensive because with her lack of responsibility already. I feared she would not take care of the cat appropriately. She wouldn't do her dishes, and since I like to keep the common space clean and able to use, I would just do her dishes. Since I stopped doing her dishes and only doing mine, the sink is constantly piled with dirty dishes, bowls, and utensils. It gets to the point where we run out of forks or plates, and I have to fish in the dirty sink and hand wash something, then putting in the dishwasher after use like a normal person. I had to ask her 3 times to please load the dishwasher before she finally did it, but now the sink is piled again. She has a habit of putting her clothes in the washer and not starting it, then just leaving the clothes in there for days, making it unusable. I have to ask her multiple times to do something with it, and it always results in her just taking them out instead of washing them, which makes no sense. She acts like it takes so much effort and time to wash her clothes. No, to be fair, you do have to put the powder in, turn the dial, and press start. That can take a while. It can take like 3 seconds, 5 seconds maybe. She acts like it takes so much effort and time to wash her clothes when it takes the same amount of energy to put them in and take them out. Every time I ask her to do something, she groans like she's a teenager, and I'm her mom telling her to do chores. Like I'm asking for a favor. It's actually just respect and responsibility that I'm asking. Because of this attitude, I've avoided straight up saying, "Hey, this is how I would like things done." Sometimes I will text her about something and she will straight up ignore me. Another thing that really bugged me was that she had a person over that I was adamant about having a boundary of not having them over. This person is a huge trigger for me. It took me years to break free of the toxicity and bullying from them. I am genuinely traumatized by this person. She agreed to not let this person over, then one day just said, "Hey, they're coming over." I told her I would really like if that didn't happen. That if they want to hang out, they should go to their place or somewhere public. I told her that I was upset that she even thought it was okay because of my very well-known feelings about this. She completely ignored what I said, didn't apologize, and still had them over while I was home. This boundary breach was one thing, but to be honest, the fact that she is still friends with this person bugs me because, oh honey, I know, I've been there, because of what they've done to me and other people I know. But I'm trying not to be controlling. I can't control who people are friends with. Now, getting to today's issue. When I woke up this morning, I went to run errands, and when I came back, the cat had pooped on the carpet in the living room. Let's hope it was the cat. I checked my roommate's bedroom door where the litter box is closed, meaning the cat didn't have access to it. I told her about this and that I did not want to deal with it, and that I would be in my room avoiding the horrible smell and mess. She came home and it's been a few hours and she still has left the poop there. I have a bad feeling she will leave it there for multiple days until I have to ask her again and again. Now obviously I have some responsibility, it's my apartment too, and I don't want poop sitting on the carpet. Not to mention we are lying to our landlords about having a cat because our lease is up soon, and I'm worried about losing our security deposit. Again, this is not my cat. I have been clear about the responsibility of cleaning up after him. And she is the one that is responsible for leaving her room open so the cat can access his litter box. I'm at my wit's end. I already am leaning towards not leasing with her again. If she leaves the cat poop there, I am seriously thinking of packing my stuff and staying somewhere else because it is unacceptable. This has all been really hard. She was one of my best friends before we moved in together. I feel extremely guilty for not wanting to live with her again and possibly leaving her high and dry. I feel like this would end our friendship entirely. I also have been quite passive about these things, trying to be kind and understanding, so maybe she might be shocked when I tell her that I don't want to live with her anymore. I also just think it's common sense that she's being a bad roommate. What should I do? Hellfreezer's note. You shouldn't be worried about ending the friendship because the friendship's already over. She has no respect for you or regard for you as a person. Fact of the matter is, if somebody has genuinely traumatized you and they maintain ties to that person, to the point of even bringing the trauma into your home when you've made it clear that that cannot happen, they're not your friend. They're just not your friend. As far as not leasing with her again, that really is the only viable option here. I would make sure you tell her that as soon as possible and make arrangements for yourself to be elsewhere. It always sucks to lose a friend, but the fact of the matter is, as we go through life, we gain friends, we lose friends. The ones worthwhile stick with us, and the rest are all just memories and lessons to be learned. 4. Hello. I, 29 and male, moved into this awesome new place in San Diego 2 months ago. Right by the beach, I have my own master bedroom, walkable to wherever I need. My roommate, however, is a little difficult. Just for context, I'm extremely clean, very quiet, work from home, but hardly home when I'm not working. I'm super active and keep myself busy. My girlfriend comes over 2 or 3 times a week, and most of the time just hangs out for 2 or 3 hours. I'm extremely respectful of the common areas of my place, but also keep my room very tidy. My roommate, 26 and male, is very strange. He has a certain way to do everything. I'm thinking he may be a bit different up there. He keeps the same 5 small items on the dish rack bone dry, but never puts them away, and would tell me not to touch them if I move them in any certain way. There's one special spoon that I moved because it's in the way of 40% of the dish rack, and told me not to touch it. That's where it goes. He doesn't really clean, but keeps things kinda tidy. Dishes always in one side of the sink. We have tons of cabinet space, but he uses the counter and dining table as a pantry instead. I don't use the dishwasher. He doesn't let me use his dish drying rack anymore. We don't have that much counter space. He's always home, doesn't have friends, which I feel kinda bad about, doesn't have a job. In the 2 months I've spent here, he has created some petty little rules that are just unexplainable. I've only asked him twice to close his bedroom and bathroom door a bit softer, because he really slams it, in the middle of the night too. He hasn't really improved on that at all, and both times I asked, he made excuses. That's not the issue here. Last night around 9 p.m. my girlfriend was over, and we were hanging out in my room. My roommate comes up to my door and starts knocking on it for me to move my car. We have tandem parking, so I was parked behind him. Again, he never really goes anywhere, especially at 9 p.m. I open the door and say, "Can you text me next time to move it instead of knocking on my door?" He said, "No, I'm gonna knock on it." I reiterated and said, "I'm asking you and would like for you to just text me. I'll get it right away and move my car." He said, "No, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this." We went back and forth for a bit. I told him, "This is what I'm asking. It's very simple. Please just respect it." I told him if it's an emergency or if I haven't replied to you within a minute, feel free to knock. He was still fighting me. I moved the car and found a spot on the street instead. I usually park on the street if I find a spot. He doesn't. Granted, I pay $125 more than him as well. Anyways, 10 minutes later I get a text from him saying that I need to find a new place and we're not compatible roommates. We have different expectations. It's just frustrating because I'm so cordial with him and the silly rules he makes. Yet when I ask him to do something for me, he immediately gets taken aback. I have a feeling there's some type of dominance thing here, and maybe past roommates. He's had 3 others in this same space over 3 years, just bent over backwards. I'm not willing to move out. I like this space a lot, and I'm just not a fan of this roommate. A little after this, I spoke with him in a very cordial way to see if we could work things out. I mentioned to him that I've only asked for 2 very simple things. Please close your door softly in quiet hours, and do not come knocking on my door to urge me to move my vehicle. Simply text me, and if I don't respond within a minute or it's an emergency, then come knocking on my door. Throughout our conversation, he reiterated about 5 times that we're not compatible roommates, and I need to look for another place. Every single time he mentioned that I denied, saying, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not moving." Every time he would continue this action of throwing his head back with his hands over his face. Really funny to me. He said it was comedic that I require such a stupid thing of texting instead of knocking, and that he's never had a roommate require that. He's apparently never had roommates with girlfriends. I said, there's a first for everything. Told him there's an obvious disrespect here, and if he'd like to continue to disrespect, then disrespect will be given back. I'm not playing any more games here. We ended the conversation with him saying, I'm not going to follow any rules you make if it's going to affect my daily lifestyle. I thought my 2 requests were simple and didn't in fact affect his lifestyle. I said, then you're a lost cause, and left to my schedule for the day. Spoon will be moved. 5. Okay, this is pretty complicated, but I'm going to try and explain everything that's happened so far. So about a year ago, my boyfriend, 26, and I, non-binary, 24, moved in with our friend, female 28, to get out of our studio apartment. It was discussed for a few months before and thought it would work out for everyone. And it did for a little while. Now I'm pretty sure about 3 months in, the problems started. She has always had problems keeping jobs and sticking with them. I helped them out with her taxes recently, and she had 7 W-2s. Now I get it, sometimes things happen, and not every job is for everyone. But it's always a pattern with her. First 2 weeks, she loves her job. She's working hard, making moves. Then, right after that, they start leaving early, calling out about 3 to 5 times a week. And in turn, she ends up either getting fired or quitting. Here was the 2 to 3 months she didn't have a job at all. And my boyfriend and I said it was fine, we both have pretty good jobs and we could cover the bills until they got a job again. And in turn, she said she'd keep the house clean, feed the pets, and do the daily stuff to keep a house. We never asked her to do this. She offered because she didn't have a job at the time, and she did it. For about a month, then everything stopped. And even when she would clean, she would move our stuff that didn't need to be moved, throw our stuff out without even thinking about it. And we tried to talk to her about it, and to please stop, and how it was frustrating to us. Then she just completely stopped cleaning and just screwed off, I guess. To help her out, my boyfriend made a plan to buy her van. He would pay her what he could afford that month, between $200 and $400, and she in turn would use that money he gave her for rent. We didn't really have a problem with this, but when this was happening, I guess she just decided she didn't need a job, and continued to just stay at home. Any outside money she would get, she would spend on takeout, clothes, etc. My boyfriend tried to talk to her about it, saying how he was basically just paying her portion of the rent, and in turn she freaked out, saying how once he hands the money over, it's none of his business how she spends it. So we let it go. During this time, she's also been in and out of the ER with just a spreadsheet of problems. I must admit I feel bad about this, she was my friend, but it just kept going. She would always use excuses of my body hurts and I can't get a job, I have all these problems, yet she's out about in town with her friends going to restaurants and shopping. Everything came to a head when she was prescribed Xanax. I still don't understand how she was able to get it again. She used to be addicted to Xanax. Even tried to end things using said pills. How her doctor thought it was okay to put her on it again, I'll never understand. But in turn, she's basically become a pill popper. Even before the Xanax, it was Adderall, and honestly, it's just been downhill since then. My boyfriend has just been done with everything that's happening, feeling like she's only using us for money and how this list of problems is just an excuse not to do anything, and that is just holding her back. He's been a little standoffish towards her for a few months, just trying to keep the peace and not engaging when not needed. Then things really set fire about 4 days ago. Just all day she was bothering my boyfriend with the same question. Why do you hate me? And he kept telling her that he doesn't want to go into it, especially because she would bring this up in front of company. Non-stop asking. Then he was honest and told her how he felt, which, side note, is what she has always told us to do, to never bottle up what we're feeling and to just be honest with her. How she was a drug addict, unreliable, a moocher, a narcissist, and so on. Yes, I do think maybe it was a little harsh, but after a full day with the constant bothering with the same question, I understand how he lost his cool. But after he said this, she turned it around on him, telling him how he's an alcoholic and he's a narcissist. Yeah, narcissists are really good at accusing other people of that. And how he's the reason why he doesn't have any friends. It was pretty bad. She wouldn't listen to anyone about the problems she was causing and just turning them around on us, denying that she had any problems at all. And she just closed herself in her room for the rest of the day and then left the next morning. Later that day, she texted us that she was moving out. Great, nice when a problem fixes itself. Now, mind you, we never told her to move out. Don't question it, just be glad. We literally just wanted to have a conversation. But she jumped to that and hasn't been back in 3 days now. She's shacking up with one of the guys she uses for money. And this morning I woke up to a Facebook post about how she needs a new place to rent because her roommates are bullying her. From what we know, everyone in our friend group is on our side because she's also pulled crap like this with everyone else. You can give examples if needed. I was just hoping for a little advice if allowed. The messed up part is, I left out a lot more incidents because this would just be a novel if I did so. Hellfreezer's note, let her go. Turn away, slam the door. No, let her go. I get that she's your friend, but the thing is, she's not your friend anymore. That friendship is over. It's time to move on, cut your losses, and it'll suck for a while. It always sucks to lose someone you thought was a friend, but in the end, you'll see that it's a lot better to have her out of your life. She's got problems she's not ready to deal with, and maybe one day she'll hit rock bottom and choose to get help, but you can't force her to do that. And you'll just have to accept that that's the way things are for her. So let her go. Let her move out. In fact, if she tries to change her mind, insist that she moves out. You don't need the drama in your life, and you and your partner are going to be a lot happier without it. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Bad Roommates 76. And big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. Before you go, please hit the like button and do consider subscribing. If you'd like to support the channel, 2 ways you can do that are my Patreon, which is linked in the description. As little as $1 or more a month will get you access to the videos early on a Monday. There's also a link to my merchandise store on Teespring. Okay, that's the business out of the way, let's move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, when it comes to products like lip balm, for example, do you grab whatever happens to be near you when you're in a store and you realize, oh, I need to get that? Or will you go looking for a specific brand? For example, when it comes to lip balm, I quite like the lime variety of Carmex. Although I will take other varieties, but I do like that particular brand. I find it works well for me. I've tried others, they just don't seem to work as well. And so I generally will stick with that, because my lips tend to get pretty bad because my skin is kind of crummy. But let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, we'll take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. And this one comes from Bad Roommate 74, and it was about old advertisements that you remember to this day. I mentioned the one about the fellow with the ketchup, which someone correctly pointed out was Matt LeBlanc from Friends. He took a look at that hot dog and he said, "How you doing? Hey, covered in ketchup, that's how I like it, yeah." That may have been an outtake. And today's answer comes from Vanetta Masetta. Double your refreshment, double your enjoyment. Oh, no single gum seems to freshen your mouth like double mint gum. Rings in my head invariably. Thank you very much for your answer, Vanetta Masetta. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. Give me old voice a rest. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.